Hello everyone. Hey kids. It's Miss Mary here again. Um, Tonight we're going to continue talking about Abraham. So far we've learned that God told Abraham to move, just pack up his stuff and leave. And he and his wife Sarah and his nephew Lot, they packed up all their stuff and they left. And then last week we talked about 3 visitors that came to see Abraham and Sarah. And they told Sarah and Abraham they were going to have a baby. And they did have the baby, and it was a little boy, and they named him Isaac. So that's where we're going to start tonight, is talking about Isaac and when Isaac is all grown up. So stay with us and we will do our story in just a minute. Okay, tonight we're going to read about finding a wife for Isaac. Now, Isaac had grown up to be a grown man, and Abraham, his dad, wanted Isaac to get married. And so that's our story we're going to talk about tonight. And this story can be found in the book of Genesis. Remember, that's the first book in the Old Testament. And it's Genesis chapter 24, verses 1 through 66. When Abraham was old, he decided to find a wife for his son Isaac. So Abraham sent his best servant. "I do not want my son to marry any of the local Canaanites," Abraham explained, "so I'm sending you to where I used to live. You will find a wife for Isaac there." The servant said, "What if she doesn't want to come back with me? Will I have to take Isaac to her?" "If she's unwilling," Abraham replied, "your task is finished. God has promised to give this land to my descendants." The servant collected 10 camels and loaded them with provisions, and then he set off for Aram. That's where Abraham's brother Nahor lived. When he arrived, he stopped outside the city and made his camels kneel down close to a well. Then the servant prayed, "Lord God, when the women come to the well, I will ask them for a drink. If one says, 'Drink, and I'll water your camels too,' let her be the one that you have chosen for your Isaac." And while he was praying, a woman named Rebekah came to the well. She was carrying a water pot on her shoulder. The servant asked Rebekah for a drink. She quickly lowered the jar and gave him a drink, and then she offered to draw water for the camels. The servant watched as Rebekah went back and forth from the well to fill the trough for the camels to drink. When she had finished, he took out 2 gold bracelets for her. "Who are you?" the servant asked. "My name is Rebekah," she replied. The servant was pleased, as it meant Rebekah was the one that God had chosen for Isaac. He bowed his head and worshiped God. "Praise to the Lord, the God of my master Abraham. He has led me to the family of Abraham." Rebekah was living with her brother Laban and his wife. When Laban heard about the servant's arrival, he came running to him. Laban was thrilled to meet Abraham's servant, and pleased when he saw the gifts the servant had brought with him. "Come," said Laban, "I have room for you and your camels, and we'll have a meal prepared for all of us." The servant explained why he had come. then brought out gold and silver jewelry and gifts of fine clothes for Rebekah. He also gave expensive gifts to Laban and Rebekah's mother. The next day, Rebekah agreed to go with Abraham's servant on the long journey to meet Isaac, her future husband. Isaac was sitting and meditating about God when he saw the camels and his servant appear, and he ran towards them. "Who is that?" asked Rebekah. "That's Isaac," the servant replied. Rebekah quickly covered her face. Abraham's servant then explained to Isaac all that had happened. Soon after this, Isaac and Rebekah were married. Abraham's prayers had been answered, and the prayers of Abraham's servants to help him find a wife for Isaac were answered too. Isaac really loved Rebekah, and they later had twins named Jacob and Esau. And this story came from Genesis chapter 24. Okay, our story was from the Free Bible Images, contributed by Richard Gunther. Okay, kids, that was our story. That was a little longer than we usually have, but it had some good stuff in it. This was a continuing with Abraham and his son Isaac. When Isaac was all grown up into a man, Abraham wanted Isaac to get married. And so he sent a servant to go find a wife for Isaac. And do you remember what the servant prayed to God and asked? He asked that whatever woman came to the well, and he asked if he could have a drink, if she gave him a drink, and then if she offered to also water his camels, then that was going to be Isaac's wife. And there was a woman who came to the well, and she did just that. She asked him, or she gave him water, and then she asked if she could give the camels water. And do you remember her name? It was Rebekah? Yeah, it was Rebekah. So they ate supper with Rebekah's family, and then the next day they headed back to where Isaac and Abraham and Sarah lived. And Isaac was all excited when he saw the servant coming back, and he ran out to meet him. And he and Rebekah, they got married, and he really loved Rebekah. And later they have a set of twins. Twins means two babies. And it's two baby boys they have. And they named them Jacob and Esau. And that is where we are going to pick up on our next story about Jacob and Esau. So that is our story for today. I hope you learned something about Abraham and Isaac. And I will be seeing you later on video. Hopefully soon we'll be in class. I keep praying that we will. I miss you guys, and I love you. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.